It's time for Screen Junkies Movie Fights.
Hoot, hoot, where my owls at? Hashtag Owl Nation, hashtag Gahooligans. It's all about the owls. What's going on, guys? Movie Fights Live. We're ready to do it. We have three awesome fighters sitting at the movie fights table, ready to throw down. Let's meet today's combatants. First off, she's one of the hosts of FX Movie Download. She's a new mom. I'm most excited about that because I bet she's a fantastic mom and will be a fantastic mom.
Just shake them. Just shake them. That's how you get a baby quiet.
Okay, I take all that back. SASHA PERL-RAVER. SASHA.
Yes, let's do this thing. I am feeling so confident about one of my arguments, and that's it. So let's see what happens.
You know, that's called playing possum. You're trying to... I've seen that before. I've seen that before. All right, we'll see what happens. Second, he is the only player in movie fights history to win a complete shutout. Did not allow his opponent to get a point. And he's one of the real rejects, but he's no reject when it comes to movie fighting. Greg ALBA.
Thanks for having me again, Hal. I honestly, was thinking about it today. I get nervous when I come in here because I realize I don't feel like I'm amongst my peers when I'm here. I am such a fan of the whole Screen Junkies universe.
Wow.
So it was like clicking in my head today. That's why I get nervous when I show up to movie fights.
I thought you were going to say you're above us all. Like,
No. I
have no peers.
I'm so much better than everyone at Screen Junkies.
Well, it's a mutual admiration society because we think you're fantastic, and you've come in here and put the smack down, so you also deliver the goods.
And SASHA, she's an intimidating fighter, and STACEY's a really good friend of mine. We actually are really good friends.
We are.
Speaking of our last combatant at the table, you know her from the Schmodown and 6 Degrees of Feature Film, Stacey Howard.
What's up, guys? I feel confident all 3 of my questions are going to be utter failures. I'm super nervous about all of this.
Well, I didn't know you guys were friends, so there could be like a whole behind-the-scenes team-up situation.
We shared
That wouldn't be the first time. Like
corporate takeover.
Yeah,
man.
I was like, can we sit next to each other here?
Yeah, someone comes out of nowhere with the steel chair or something like that. By the way, this does not count for points, but Stacey, I'm electing you best T-shirt of the day. Jaws with the flower.
I knew I had to bring it today. This was like $47 at Amoeba, but I bought it just for Screen Junkies.
Wow.
Yeah, Amoeba, man. We'll get you.
Thank you for going the extra mile. Dan Murrell would be jealous of your Jaws shirt, I think.
He's wearing a Jaws shirt today.
He always wears a Jaws shirt. That's a great Jaws shirt.
One shirt.
Speaking of Dan Murrell, Dan's not here, but we still got the Dan cam.
Woo!
Yes, we do. So deciding today's fights is going to be myself and those 2 fabulous individuals. First off, we have our judge and fact checker, Lon Harris. Lon, what up?
The Lon?
This is not. I meant to do like a little bell ring, but then it didn't work. It just went flat, so I'm here.
I hate it when bells do that. Bells are made to
ring.
Yeah.
The worst.
You know what?
There we go.
Okay, that time an angel got its wings.
Owl Nation.
Owl Nation. That time an owl got its wings. Yeah, there we go.
This has gone off the rails already.
Quick question. Lon, what do you prefer, a hoot owl or a screech owl?
Oh, definitely a hoot owl. What? Come on.
All right.
Who wants a screech? Even in Saved by the Bell, no one likes a screech.
I feel ya. And the voice of the people, sent from heaven above, it is Danielle Radford.
Hi, babies.
Danielle, so myself and Lon will be weighing in with our opinions on the first 3 questions, and you will be coming through with the people's vote. Please explain how that works.
So the way that this works, there are a lot of really fun polls and things on the Twitter. Please join those. Those are amazing. The only polls that count for this is the poll that is on the YouTube. Those do not go up until opening arguments have started and have finished because these are based on the arguments, not on what movies you liked. If you want instructions about how to vote in those polls, they are down in the description, or you can ask us in the chat. We are all trying to be in there as much as we can, answering questions. And those polls, we will read them every round, but they only count in the case of a tie. And then in case there is like a 3-way tie, I have to do a thing which I hate, and then in the speed round, I have to be my own person, which I hate. But the thing that I love is when you send me other possible answers, dank memes, other great things on the Twitter, and I will be looking at those. So please, on the hashtag #MovieFightsLive, send me additional answers, send me memes, send me all the fun stuff. I see as much as I can, and I really tried to make sure that we highlight each and every one of you.
Yeah, sick memes. Like, for example, if you wanted to take all our faces and put them on the bodies of owls.
It's been done before, but it could be done again.
Yes.
It was the best.
Heck yeah. So one more time how our game works. There are 3 regular round questions, and then we go into the speed round with the top 2 competitors. And someone can be up 3-0 going into the speed round, and the person who's down has a chance to come back. So it's anybody's game.
Unless it's Greg. And then it's just Greg's game.
He did pitch a shutout before. Okay, by the way,
I lost the second time, guys.
we have no JTE today. We got Billy Biz in the booth. So Billy Biz and I have a little catchphrase before he drops that package. I say, Billy Biz, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Prepare to die. Ladies and gentlemen. No. It's main event time.
Thank you, Thor. Thank you, Billy. By the way, that is Roll That Beautiful Bean footage, a commercial reference from several years ago.
It's a dog that eats beans.
What's that?
It's a dog that wants to steal a bean recipe.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
Bush's bean dog.
Oh, okay,
Bush's
so
baked beans.
Yeah.
great. Thank you for all knowing that reference.
Fast check.
All right, question number one.
Question number 1.
All right. News broke this week that Marvel side characters will be getting their own Disney streaming shows. So we ask, which Marvel character that hasn't had their own solo movie should get a streaming show on Disney's service? First question, and we'll start with player number 1, Sasha.
Okay, well, I obviously am really excited about the tweets this is going to get me. Since Marvel can't give a female lead a film, LOL, supposedly we've got Captain Marvel, blah, blah, blah. Supposedly we're going to get a Black Widow, blah, blah, blah. You know what I want to see? I want to see an all-female show. I don't want any dudes. That's what I want. I want them to totally do a female takeover, and we're going to take over the Disney streaming service. Now, I was told I could not use Lady Liberator, so I'm not going to reference that. What I'm going to say is we get Valkyrie, we get Tessa Thompson to lead the charge. Now, here's the thing about the Lady Liberators comic that came out in 1970. It was actually sort of a dig on feminism written by all men. So I'm saying we take it, we usurp it, and we put it back in their faces. So what you have is you've got Valkyrie, and she gets together an all-female team. We can get Black Widow, we can get Captain Marvel, we can get Miss Marvel, we can bring in X-Men, we can get Mystique in this thing, we can get Storm in this thing, we can do a whole situation, and we can have with each week a new person coming in until we have an ultimate super team of all chicks. No dudes, suck on it, Marvel. I want it.
All right, there you go. Sasha coming in guns blazing with
I
Valkyrie.
said feminism. There's absolutely no way that's not going to get so many great comments.
You may be right.
Big feminist.
All right, let's go to player number 2, Greg.
All right, I chose the most odd one you could think of, but I'm going with my heart today. Back in August of 2016, a little more than a year before Thor Ragnarok came out, the world met a man named Daryl on the internet. It was the man Thor. I could hear some people laughing because they know exactly who I'm talking
You
about.
heard one long chuckle. Relax.
The man Thor. Let me do my opening salvo here.
Yes.
The man Thor was rooming with when Captain America Civil War went down. Thor describes him as an average, sort of everyday guy that had an amicable relationship. However, Daryl had to constantly deal with annoying things, such as Thor leaving his hammer in the middle of the room, or Thor showing up at his workplace, or Thor insisting he could pay his half of the rent with Asgardian currency. Then his job moved to LA, where the Grandmaster ended up accepting his Craigslist ad for a new roommate. Daryl is always interacting with these unique personalities from the MCU, always tries to be patient, understanding. He's a straight-faced guy in these Office-like comedies. It's like a half-hour single-camera sitcom in the vein of The Office with some superhero splicing. And ever since that debuted on YouTube, we got 3 of those videos. people have been wanting more Daryl. It's hilarious. He developed a fan base from the ultimate streaming service, which is YouTube. And his adventures with these people, what's great about them is they allow us to see what these larger-than-life characters are like when you interact with them in normal, everyday environments. Living through Daryl, we get to see the odd, funny personalities of these comic book characters when they're not involved in high-stakes plot. So, you know, people say Thor Ragnarok reinvented Thor, but no. It was Daryl. Once that sketch came out, everyone got excited for Thor Ragnarok, for that type of comedy, and then throwing in the Grandmaster. And every week on this streaming service, you could have a new MCU character guest star. Half-hour single comedy, unlike anything Marvel has done before, and I'll wait for the actual fight. I have outlined a whole show.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Stacey, what do you got?
Well, thank you for that novella, Greg.
Daryl's the best.
He's got like 5 pages.
Daryl's the best.
You know, there are a lot of great female Marvel characters that I would love to flesh out and explore their backstories, but none so much as Nebula from Guardians of the Galaxy, okay? She started as a villain in the first film and then became kind of a reluctant ally in Volume 2. She's very clearly had a lot of family issues, and I would love to see her backstory as a child, fighting for survival amongst the other children of Thanos, growing up with a man that you hated, in competition with a sister that you wanted to love but couldn't for fear of your life. She has such a heartbreaking history, but she's strong and she's smart and she's learning to be more trusting of those around her and not just look out for herself. That can make for some really great storylines, similar to that of Jessica Jones or Daredevil, who have proven themselves successful with Marvel fans and critics. So, you know, there are lots of characters you could explore, but she would offer up the most material and the most possibilities.
All right. Fight it out, you guys.
Okay, first of all, you talk about Daryl, and every single thing you said about Daryl was how he interacted with other characters.
Yes.
So he's not actually interesting. Daryl is an everyman.
Daryl, people love Daryl. He's the funny
Daryl is
straight
the
guy.
boring guy in the next
Stacey,
cubicle at work.
you did not
Nobody
even
cares.
watch the video.
I did watch the videos, and if it's just Daryl, like let's say we have a standalone Daryl
No, it's not just
episode,
Daryl. That's the point, is that every
point
week
is
you get a new
need
MCU
Thor.
character.
Right.
Exactly.
that's-
So what happened,
We
though?
need a show, though. You're talking about a gimmick. You're talking
No, I'm
about
talking about a
every second
half-hour
you should
show,
No, that sounds to me
office-like
like-
comedy.
Watch the talking over each other,
that
guys.
sounds to me like a 2-minute sketch. It's not because you don't have a central character that people are going to get behind. They're only going to be tuning in for stunt casting. And as anybody who watched Love Boat can tell you, it can't just be about the stunt casting. It has to be about Gopher.
Well, I'm glad you brought up about, you think it might be a 2-minute sketch, because I have outlined a whole season for you guys.
Oh, yeah, that's great, but we're not going to get to that. No,
I won't go through all of it. I won't go through all of it. No.
Okay, if he's offering up a taste, give us a taste.
You
Give
guys
us a
might have
taste.
reasons why you want a show. I actually have. I have a show on mine, and I'll shorten this. I have made highlight points here. Episode 1.
highlighting.
Where's Nick Fury been? So in the first
So it's about
episode,
Nick Fury.
So the first episode is the first episode. Daryl gets hired to, and this takes place a little bit before Infinity War. He gets hired to work at the Avengers headquarters, where the office manager is Nick Fury.
Office manager, sexy.
He's furious,
So sexy.
furious, upset because he has been left out of a lot of the superhero adventures as of late. Because last time we saw him was Age of Ultron, then the end scene of Infinity War. So he's been pushed back to the corner. So he starts spying on Daryl in the first episode. Keep in mind, half-hour
So again,
office
it's about
comedy.
Nick Fury.
This first episode with Nick Fury, and he becomes suspicious of Daryl because why is Thor rooming with Daryl? Why does the Grandmaster room with Daryl? Why are these people of supernatural abilities gravitated towards a man like Daryl? And then he realizes he could use Daryl to his advantage. So in the second episode,
You know what? I'm going to stop you right here.
Second
You're taking
episode.
up far too much time. We're only on episode 2, and it has been like 2 whole
episode
minutes.
2,
again, it's
he
only
becomes
one.
Tony Stark's
Here's why.
assistant in
Okay,
episode
so
2.
we get the idea.
Yeah.
Here's why I'm thinking that Nebula is a little better choice than Valkyrie. It's really hard for me to argue against you, Sasha, because I love that character so much, but we did get a lot of her backstory in Thor Ragnarok. We actually saw, interactions with her when she was, fighting against everything with her other Valkyries and all the tragedy that happened. So we did get to see a little bit of her character fleshed out. With Nebula, we haven't seen any of that. We've only been given hints or had conversations, and I think she is the most compelling of everyone in that movie.
I don't agree with that at all.
Her story, her character arc could go from dark to light, learning and growing to falling again, bad that to go. There's so many options you can go with.
Here's the thing.
excited
What
to
you
see
said
Nebula.
was you want to see her as a child, and then you referenced Jessica Jones. And honestly, a child version of Jessica Jones is terrifying, and you can't really have children on set for that long. So yours, production-wise, is very difficult.
She was just
Yeah,
abused.
she's
All of
alien.
Nebula
You
was
can
just
get a
abused.
small- She's a child alien. You can get a very small woman to be
You
naked and she'll still
said
seem like
we
a child.
saw Brunhilde's backstory. That means that the audience is going in rooting for her. They already know that stuff. We don't have to do a whole bunch of backstory stuff. We can get straight into creating
TV
a
shows are
female.
for, though.
No, it's not. That's why every single thing has source material. We already know what's going on, and what we want to know is what's the next adventure. And I want to see. Tessa Thompson can do no wrong for me, but to see her leading a television show like this, where we get action, where we get comedy, where we get all that stuff, and we can bring in, like you're saying with Daryl, guest stars. We can have other people from the MCU. We can have an all-female force. And like you're saying, Nebula, we can go deeper into the backstory. We can go deeper into the Valkyrie backstory.
I think-
But it's about creating a new super team. It's about creating new superheroes, and that's what we need for a streaming service.
I think
But what
Val-
they
I think-
ask for is for one character, though. You're asking for an ensemble
I'm
with a
saying
bunch of
Valkyrie.
different characters.
I'm saying Valkyrie Brunhilde, the Tessa Thompson character, is creating a new league of superheroes because we don't need the Avengers anymore. We can now have the Valkyrie, and she is leading the charge. And it's more like an Alias thing.
I think
It's more
Valkyrie.
like her
I
as-
think Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok has too many similar shticks. She's essentially to me the female space pirate version of Jack Sparrow. She's,
That's awesome!
No, wait, no. Here's my point. Here's my point with that though.
That's a great
After
analogy.
the first Pirates of the Caribbean, the Jack Sparrow stuff got insanely old. People got bored of it. It's
I think
annoying.
like $1.7 billion would disagree with you.
It's
People
not about the
want
box
more-
office. It's about what people actually thought of Jack Sparrow.
No,
though.
no, it's
the Jack Sparrow
definitely about the
shtick
box
gets
office.
very old after a while, and I think she works better as a supporting player as opposed
Because
to
she's a woman.
being a lead. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna play that argument with you because that is not what I think.
going for it.
That's not what I think. I think
all
Tessa
the angry
Thompson's a good
tweets.
actress, but she's barely in the Thor Ragnarok movie. And her
She's so much.
no, I watched the movie. I went through the movie last night. You can look up how much screen time out of a 2-hour and 10-minute movie.
So what? You think who gets more, Grandmaster or Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie?
Probably Tessa Thompson
Right,
overall.
so that's still a huge supporting character.
Okay, my point with that, though, is Tessa Thompson in that movie, I think what makes her character effective, she's the kind of character that's more effective in a supporting role. She's the kind of character that's more effective when she's bouncing off of Thor. Other than that, I think her character is not all that entertaining when you really think about
I
it.
completely
I just
disagree.
think
What is she
got
doing
shit
that's-
done. She had a big
she's
ass
even
gun.
fight-
She got that BDE. That's what she has.
See, she's even fighting my argument. Because,
I'm just going against him.
but what you have with her is you have
That's not helping you.
You guys, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and hit some final thoughts. Sasha, go ahead and roll this into your final thoughts.
With Valkyrie, you get pathos because we do know her backstory. You get all of this amazing action, and you get to create a new league that can have different characters that we haven't seen over and over and over again. And most importantly, Tessa Thompson went to Kevin Feige and said, I want to do an all-female Marvel team-up. And he said yes. So let's not just give the people what they want. Let's give Kevin Feige what he wants.
All right, thank you, Sasha. Greg, take us to your final thoughts.
I think what makes the I think if you're going to do a Disney streaming service with these shows, you have to have something that is entirely unique. I think if you bring Nebula, who is kind of a one note, like she's not really that interesting of a character in the movies. No one gets excited to see Nebula. Gamora is the interesting part to that dynamic. Nebula's not interesting. Valkyrie herself, I prefer her to be part of the Revengers or whatever Thor calls that team. I think she works better in the supporting character part. I feel like all those shticks would get old after a while if you're watching a show, and too much exploration can diminish those effective qualities in small doses. I think, though, if you want to introduce Valkyrie, you could introduce her to episode 3 of my Team Daryl show, where after the snap, Valkyrie ends up moving in with Daryl because Daryl needs a new roommate because half of the Avengers headquarters has been wiped out, and Valkyrie was recommended by Thor to live there. So every episode with my show, though, it would be something entirely unique, entirely different than you've seen from any of the MCU. It would be a different genre splicing, and also you can have a new character of the week, because I think my favorite moments in some of these MCU movies are like when the heroes are trying to pick up Thor's hammer, or when Loki and Thor are arguing about brotherly things in Thor Ragnarok. Those human moments is what you would get in this show, a chance to really explore. And I think on YouTube you saw that it's already kind of a sizzle reel that's been tested of the Daryl show. If like people wanted more, that's what people were demanding after. They want to see Daryl in the MCU, and I think on a streaming service it's the perfect format.
Thanks, Greg. Stacey, take it home.
All right, so there's nothing I love more than a show about superheroes where it's focused on a human with no powers. What I want for Nebula is to see how she grew up, how she became the woman she is, and what she's developing into. You start with the first film with Volume 1. You see her, this villain. She already has a story arc. She already has changed, grown, and become even more a part of the team in the second one. So that shows you that she can grow. She is not one note. A show would give the opportunity to have this strong, complicated woman. She's not perfect. It's not the Madonna or the whore. It's this woman that has the chance to explore the entire galaxy and really have, you know, an entire range of emotions that go with the kind of character that she is. So that's why I want a TV show for her. Valkyrie is great, don't get me wrong, but I think that Nebula, we haven't seen enough of her, and that's why she deserves her own show. Valkyrie, we have gotten a little bit in our own film.
Stacey, thank you so much. Hoot hoot. That's the end of round number 1. Lon, hit us with the facts.
No incorrect facts, but a couple facts that are sort of interesting. It was a single joke issue of the Avengers, number 83 in 1970, that introduced the Lady Liberators. They brought them back in 2008. She-Hulk reformed the team briefly. For Greg's, Daryl, we know, did survive the Infinity War snap. We have confirmation from Marvel. He's still alive. And then for Nebula, Nebula does currently appear as a regular character on that Guardians of the Galaxy animated series.
All right.
So there you go. As for my pick, I thought these were all... I liked all the pitches, but when it comes right down to it, I feel like 2 people pitched great Marvel shows, and one fighter pitched what character should get a streaming show, which was actually the question. So I have to go on this one to Stacey. I think she made the best case for why Nebula the character...
I thought it was going to be Valkyrie, for sure.
I thought Stacey made the best case for why Nebula the character deserves her own show, as opposed to just sort of pitching what would be a fun show.
I was all for Valkyrie on that, right?
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Lon. Thank you, and thank you for going rogue and making your pick right there. I saw it a little bit differently than you did. I thought Greg.
I just spoke from my heart. I know I'm not going to get the point.
Greg, I thought you had a really interesting answer until we started hearing the episodes, and they started to become less compelling to me, but I didn't really hear from Sasha and Stacey what your shows would look like and what an episode might feel like. And I didn't have an idea for the show. So as far as the show that seemed to have the most legs and the most vision, to me, it was Greg with the Daryl show.
I can walk off the stage right now. After movie fights.
Yeah, even though, I was waiting for it because I love those characters, but I didn't hear enough about what the show would be, and that. Even though it wasn't perfect, for me, Greg gets my vote.
The joy of Daryl doesn't have to be perfect.
So we are locked up. One for Stacey, one for Greg. Danielle Radford.
Valkyrie.
All right, we're looking at the polls. We have at 51% Daryl.
Whoa!
Wow.
What?
I never have to come back.
Valkyrie is at 25%. At 23%, we have Nebula. Looking at other socials, y'all had a lot of really good ideas. Peggy Carter, Cog. Moon Knight, a lot of people like hardcore for Hawkeye. Some of the great tweets I saw, we had
nice family drama.
at King and Commander, Turk from the Netflix shows. I just want to see this guy try to live his life when superheroes keep popping in and out. I would watch that show. At Bunker on Twitter says, I want a series that is just Luis explaining Avengers battles for 11 minutes apiece. You are not wrong. Also, a lot of people suggested an ex-con series, which I thought would be so much fun. At Road Raider 3 says, you know what I want to see? Lady Sif and the Warriors 3, the TV show. When Thor is out doing his Avenger thing, imagine Sif stepping up and leading the Warriors on epic adventures with the cool mythical world of Asgard in the background. Oh, and then at Aragon92 says, I think I want to see the Ravengers leaders and what that series would look like from the OG. So it would be like the Stallone and the...
Michelle Gao, that era.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you, Danielle. Sasha, I love that you made a Love Boat reference.
I had to go for it.
Yes. Classic stuff. And I think, Valkyrie, I would love to see a Valkyrie TV show. I just had a little trouble wrapping my head around that.
It's okay. It's not bad. Like I said, I only have one I feel good about.
I think just Valkyrie shows up in Daryl's show and then you spin off her
Propose an
show.
alternate choice. John C. Reilly's character is like an Everybody Loves Raymond, laugh track comedy with his little alien family, and like his mother-in-law is like,
Right until he gets murked by
Exploded. They get exploded.
Galaxy.
Daryl Goes to Wakanda would be a funny episode too. I had that in mind.
I love me some Steve. I love me some Steve Brule. I would like to see Steve Brule in the Marvel Universe. Okay, question number 2. The House with a Clock in its Walls opens this weekend. Woo! We ask.
One guy really excited.
What's the best scary movie for kids? What is the best scary movie for kids? And we'll start with player number 2, since it's question number 2, Greg.
Yeah, I grew up on horror movies since I was a little kid. Was never really censored. Thanks, Mom and Dad. And I actually think, though, it's okay for kids to watch scary movies. And in some ways, I actually feel like they should. Because being a child is a scary endeavor. Life itself is pretty scary. So as much as I want children to watch, movies where everything is sunshine and rainbows, I think scary movies, if you show them the right one, can help children deal with fear in a safe environment. And with the right movie, be encouraged to face and overcome fear. That's why I'm choosing The Human Centipede. No, I'm choosing Paranorman today. Paranorman's my choice. The one reason I really love this movie is because before it even gets to spooky paranormal stuff, there's the real life relatability of being in Norman's shoes. Things that create real life fear, such as bullying. And also, and I think if you're not even severely bullied, you can identify with Norman in terms of, feeling, I need to take my water. Feeling lonely or misunderstood. Oh, wow, I'm choking on my vegan cookie from earlier. And also, too, Norman's exposed to, adult, real-life problems in the movie. So even before he gets to, paranormal stuff, it's already kind of scary for his life. So you get this strong modern identification, and it's this, animated fun movie mixed in with moments that are honestly actually scary. I think out of my movies, mine actually has the horror element throughout the whole thing. And it's elements that truly help to serve the character, but also help enhance the themes that kids should walk away from with this movie. So, this movie won't traumatize your kid, but it encourages kids to not pretend that fear doesn't exist, acknowledge it, process it, even embrace it, and let it go so we can be prepared for whatever else comes next. Like Norman's grandma says, there's nothing wrong with being scared as long as you don't let it change who you are.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Stacy.
All right. So, kids' films are tricky because they have to hold the attention of the kiddos, but also be entertaining for the parents as well. You have to have that balance of sophomoric humor and that highbrow double entendre wing to the parents and the audience. So there's no movie that does this better than The Addams Family. These ghoulish gargoyles are complete freaks of nature, all right? They're defying death. They're celebrating the macabre. Who among us didn't have an, emo inner Wednesday that wanted to kill their brother, literally? At its core, a scary movie for kids needs to have a message, okay? So much like the Fast and the Furious franchise, this film is all about family, okay?
Yeah.
They stick together. They support each other. They don't care what the outside world thinks. It's about being yourself, however putrid that is. You can't run from or forget about who you are, even in the Bermuda Triangle. It's hilarious. It's gross. It's scary. It's perfect. The Addams Family.
Thank you, Stacy. Sasha.
All right. So the question here is, what is the best scary movie for kids? So let's just start with talking about best. I want to talk about a movie that was one of the 25 that was first inducted into the National Registry, along with Casablanca, Citizen Kane, Star Wars. I want to talk about a movie that has Oscars for Best Song, Best Score, was nominated for Best Picture, but lost. What did it lose to? Gone with the Wind. We're talking about the one, the only, The Wizard of Oz. Now, we know this movie is incredible. This movie is iconic. But let's talk about why it is also scary AF. Okay. I got 2 words for you people. Flying monkeys. Flying monkeys will give you nightmares forever. Let's also talk about the creepy Wicked Witch who's like, I will get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too. We all know you can't hurt the dog. That is rule number 1. You do not also hurt the dog. You've got death by crushing. You've got a murder that is celebrated by singing little people. You've got a melting witch, a scarecrow that we've come to love getting threatened with fire. You've got those horrible apple trees that come to life and assault you and then throw apples in your face. And supposedly we've got a munchkin that hung himself to death because he was lovelorn in the back of one of the scenes along the hatch at the Yellow Brick Road.
Fun
That
fact.
is scary, 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 scary. It is so scary, in fact, that the MPAA had to revoke its G rating when they re-released it and put it out as PG because they were like, meh. There's also a fun fact. The Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion, and the Tin Man, along with the Wicked Witch, were so frightening in their costumes that they were not allowed to eat in the MGM lunchroom because they were scaring the workers. They had to go eat in their dressing room. You've got a main character who is flung far from home, almost killed by a tornado, and then goes after this horrible, like, floating head man who is the wizard, who is evil and scary, but also, like, mean and, like, it's terrifying. There's a reason that people watch that movie on drugs, because there is so much darkness in that movie, so much darkness. So not only is it the best, it's also the scariest.
All right, fight it out, you guys.
Yeah, come for the wizard. I can't wait.
There's no denying that Wizard is an iconic movie. There's no denying that at all. But I think its fear elements are not the takeaway of the movie. I think the fear elements are intermittent throughout. The scary moments. It's like, I feel like there's so many movies that have a scary element here or there, but that doesn't mean the tone of the movie deals with horror. The tone of the movie deals with fear. Paranorman's a movie where the entire aesthetic is a horror movie.
That's not true. That movie gets scary once we go into the woods, and once the witch scene
That's
happens.
like Act 2.
That's Act 3, and that's truly the scariest part of it.
That's the scariest part, but it gets escalatingly more scary.
If you're going to bring up Laika, there are better movies that you could have fought for Laika. Like, why aren't you fighting Coraline?
I chose Paranorman because that's where my heart spoke to me
I
on
love
this one.
Paranorman.
Yeah.
Paranorman is a fantastic movie. It's a great movie. I don't know that it's a kid's movie. It's not something that you watch
It's
at
definitely
Christmas
a
with
kid's
your
movie.
children.
I think it's totally a kid's movie. It's PG.
10, 11, 12, and
It's
up.
PG. If you're talking about elements, mine's animated. Yours is like real life, and you're talking about these. My elements also have the horror elements of zombies and ghosts and ghouls. And even at the very beginning, Norman is a kid who has this traumatizing lifestyle, but he escapes through horror movies and sees the good that can come from embracing your fear and letting go of it.
Yours
and
actually sounds
it's the
kind
theme
of
of
uplifting.
it.
It sounds kind of uplifting. Mine is something that is uplifting. Mine is couched in something that is normal, something that we're supposed to celebrate. But the truth is it is creepy, it is terrifying. But I mean, I love Addams Family, but I feel like Addams Family shouldn't even be in the conversation.
Addams Family's not scary at all.
I feel like neither of y'all should be in the
Yours
conversation.
is a comedy,
Actually. Neither I would consider
and it's
a horror film.
PG-13.
Yours is a
Whereas
one-liner
mine
comedy.
Has goblins and ghouls and pale people and seances
people? You gotta
and death
Yeah.
and graves. And I mean, you know,
Yours is a PG-13 comedy.
It has the
so it's not
macabre.
actually meant for children.
It has the
has
macabre
elements
and
of horror.
aesthetic of it, but it's the tone and the vibe and what you. No one walks away from Addams Family being like, that was some scary stuff. Everyone walks away from it thinking about how silly it was.
Nobody has ever
from an
watched
animated children's film, and I was like, oh my god.
Paranormal. If you go on the Rotten Tomatoes consensus, it says right there that it's it also has scary scenes in it.
It has scary scenes in it, but that's also what it says in Wizard of Oz. I seriously want
Not on Rotten
Daniel,
Tomatoes now.
I want you to go onto the socials and see if people did not have traumatizing nightmares
I think
as
there's
children.
totally.
I totally had
argue
flying
about
monkey
which one
children.
is more scary. That's
Flying
why
monkey children.
scary is in parentheses, guys. Children don't want to be scared
Yeah,
out of
they
their
do.
minds when they watch these films. They want to learn a great lesson. They want to laugh. They want to cry. They want to have fun with their parents and have those scary elements to it, those horror and macabre elements to it. Addams Family is the only one that really does that out of the three that we have to choose from today.
What?
That's
not true.
Do you know why? Do you know what Steven Spielberg told Eli Roth for the house? Whatever the title is, he said, "Make it scary because kids like being scared." This is the guy who created Amblin, who created Gremlins and helped produce Gremlins and all those things, because kids like actually feeling scared. Like going back to I'm sorry, but Addams Family is just not a scary movie. There's nothing in there that makes you scared. I also think that it's like I think the kids in the movie, the only two kids, it's like very mean-spirited humor, and I feel like if you were to watch,
want to electrocute their brother.
I feel like if you watch a movie now, if you're going to show it to a kid now, you're going to show them a movie that encourages stuff like anti-bullying. And then, like, what I love about Paranorman is that
anti-bullying, like when you've got the Wicked Witch who's so evil and does so many terrible
Dorothy's
things.
kind of a dick in that movie, honestly. When Dorothy shows up, the house like crashes on someone. It crashes on someone, kills someone. She has like no remorse for anything in that movie.
She feels terrible about it. And she's like,
no,
what's
she
happening?
doesn't.
But also the witch was coming for her, which is one of the reasons why it is so terrifying.
When you think of the Wizard of Oz, what does everyone call back to? They go back to the music, the production design, the
which
bright
is why
colors.
It's great for children.
It's not the scary stuff.
It's great for children.
No one knows
the
scary stuff.
What are you talking about? If you saw a sky blackened with flying monkeys, you would be freaked out. Obviously, this is a personal thing for me. But yes, I am telling you, this is terrifying.
Pirates of the Caribbean has like skeletons.
What's up with you and Pirates of the Caribbean?
I'm saying Pirates of the
today?
Caribbean has skeletons and dead people, but no one's like, that's a scary movie.
I'm sure for
that's a
children.
horror element, but it doesn't make it a scary thing. And also, the scary stuff in it doesn't help enhance the themes or help with any of the lessons. The scary movie.
Greg, go ahead and roll this into your final thoughts.
I think Paranorman's simply the best choice because it's the best scary film for kids. It's the only one that actually has that aesthetic throughout. It tells a nuanced story about fear and our responses to it and about understanding it. It's all about that. And there's some very powerful, relevant messages that are so necessary for kids to hear today. And beyond life lessons, it's because this is movie fights, it's also a great gateway into other horror movies. The kids obsessed with horror movies and watching stuff about zombies, that comes into play. Witchcraft, you get all kinds of elements, the aesthetic. There's some real scares in that movie. Wizard of Oz to me is a musical with an occasional scary moment depending on how you look at it. Addams Family is a wacky comedy with some really bad one-liners. Paranorman is an actual horror movie that was tailored for children, hence the best.
Thank you, Greg. Stacey.
I really don't consider like an animated film or, as
Did you
Greg
see
said, a
Paranorman?
musical.
Sorry.
No, I actually haven't. A musical to be a true horror film. The Addams Family has core elements about family, about being yourself, about not, going into the norm. So this film has elements for the entire family that anyone can watch. So if you want a family film, a family kids scary movie, this is what you're going to show your kids. You're not going to have them be terrified by monkeys or watch an animated film that really doesn't count as a horror film, in my opinion. You want it to be something that everyone's going to enjoy, and that's why I pick Addams Family.
All right.
Scary.
Thank you, Stacey. Back around to SASHA PERL-RAVER.
I feel like if you want to pick a movie that everybody's going to like, you go for the movie that is the number 10 on AFI's 100 Best Films of All Time list. I feel like if you want to teach children a lesson, the scariest thing to a child is being away from everything they love and everybody who they know. So if you want to really scare a kid, show them The Wizard of Oz, because you are literally ripping them away from home and putting them in a world that they don't know. And you don't want to just show a child a horror movie. You want to be able to show them something that they can learn from, that yes, they can be scared by, that they can also learn a lesson, which is home was always right here. You click your heels 2 times and you sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, because you get the fear, but you also get knowing that you can go back home again and everything can be okay. And I think that's incredibly important. And if we're just talking about best films, not only is this film incredibly frightening, but it is also iconic. It is one of the best films that has ever been made, and that is inarguable.
Hoot hoot. That's the end of round 2.
That was fantastic. You guys are both so
Lon,
passionate.
my good man, would you please give us the facts
love
and then
it.
roll that into your answer, your decision as
You
well?
got it. One fact I do need to check. It's a urban legend, but one that has been frequently debunked. A Munchkin did not hang themselves on the set of Wizard
That's
of
what
Oz.
MGM wants us to
It's
think.
likely a stray bird or a clumsy stagehead. Snopes has the proof they had not even yet. The Munchkins had not arrived on set when they shot that scene. There's no way it's a dead Munchkin.
Lon, I salute you for
Set your minds at ease, everybody. No other facts. Otherwise, a totally clean fight. I thought everybody had good picks. I like all 3 of these movies very much, but I thought there was one clear winner. I think Sasha made a great argument for why The Wizard of Oz is a great movie, but I found Greg's argument pretty convincing that it's a great movie that you remember a lot of elements from, not necessarily just the scary stuff, although Flying Monkeys did really scare me as a kid. For Addams Family, I think Stacey made a great argument for why it's like a fun, memorable comedy, but I wasn't really sold on it being a scary movie. I think Greg did a really great job of describing why Paranorman is both a great movie for kids and also a great scary movie in its own right. I'd go with Greg.
Okay, so that's 1 for Greg. Yeah, I saw it a little bit differently here.
You and me just can't agree today.
I know. Loggerheads. Stacey, I appreciate your love for the Addams Family, but I don't.
90s, baby.
But I don't know about that knock against pale people.
How dare you?
There's a little pale, gross person.
Also, just your argument about it being like kind of like more of a 4-quadrant movie or appealing to kids and adults. I feel like it wasn't quite germane to this question. So for me, it came down to Greg and Sasha. And as I thought, Greg, just your opening salvo and everything you said it was excellent. But then, I was listening to Sasha and talking about her last, so a good feeling about that. It is scary. Those flying monkeys are scary.
Terrifying.
That wicked witch of the West, when they fall asleep in the field because of the poppies or whatever it is. When you're a kid, there are scary as heck scenes. And taking both parts of the question, the best scary movie for kids, and we didn't qualify the age range or anything. I think Wizard of Oz ticks those boxes the most for me. I'm going Wizard of Oz. We are locked up at 1-1. We're going to Danielle Radford to decide.
Hi, I'm too many laptops, Danielle Radford. For some reason, again, my iCard is not loading, but as of right now, at 68%, we've got Paranorman at 21%, Wizard of Oz, and Addams Family coming in at 10%.
My roommate John really helped me out a lot with that. Prepping for this one, so I got to thank him for that.
Some of the other answers that we got: Gremlins, Monster Squad,
That was my second choice.
Hocus Pocus. People were really cranky. Y'all did not pick Gremlins. Coraline, Return to Oz.
Billy and I were talking about Return to Oz the other day. Frightening stuff.
The head thing? No, thank you. Nightmare on Elm Street, which is the reason why I have to.
That's not for kids movie.
You know what? I will argue that because when I was younger, Freddie was definitely like, I'm a good fan of Freddie. Tell your mom and dad if you want to call my number and you can be my bud.
That's true.
Around like movie number 4, which is when he ate the pizza where it was people's heads. And that's the reason why I have to read books or watch something nice when I eat, because I didn't eat for a week as a kid and I was like 4. Turns out 4-year-olds I refused to eat because of that.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to learn how to.
You thought you were going to eat Freddie?
No, I thought I was going to eat
Your friends.
That's awful.
So some other at TJ Dex, Monster Squad at Movie Fights Live shows the kids defeating monsters, classic movie monsters. Are You Afraid of the Dark movie came up. A lot of people had some really interesting E.T. arguments that you should look up. Jurassic
Spielberg,
Park
man.
also got some nods.
Okay.
And just a
Spielberg,
lot of people were real cranky. Y'all didn't choose Gremlins.
Or
that was
my
Ernest
second
Scared
choice.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Which one?
I was sitting here waiting for Ernest Scared Stupid.
I almost went James and the Giant Peach, the rhino.
Yeah.
Human Senate. Okay.
Okay. Back to Human Centipede. Greg. All right. So going into
Greg's gonna pitch another shutout.
not so fast.
No.
There's still some game to be played. So going into round number 3, it is Greg 2, Stacy and Sasha looking to get on the board. All right. Here is question number 3.
I'll throw this round.
So, lots of folks are talking about the craziness that is Nick Cage's new movie, Mandy. Okay?
I love that movie.
So we ask, what horror movie villain would be most improved if they were played by Nicolas Cage? And it's question 3. We'll start with player 3, Stacy.
All right, Nicolas Cage has delivered some of the greatest lines in film history. Put the bunny back in the box. I could eat a peach for hours. He has simply recited the alphabet, but he's never played like a monster. Not anything that's truly gross. He's pretty much always been the lead guy. They can't really allow him to look unattractive in those roles. Just imagine the possibilities of Nicolas Cage as Pennywise in It. There isn't just one face to this villain. This would allow the Cage Master to explore multiple interpretations of things that scare kids. Dozens of creatures, the accents, the hairstyles. It could be like his entire film career on display in one movie. He would have so much fun with all the wild things that he could be as Pennywise. And when Nicolas Cage has fun in a movie, the audience has fun watching him.
All right, thank you, Stacy. Pennywise, back over around to Sasha.
All right, I'm glad you brought up fun, because you're right. When Nicolas Cage has fun, we all have fun. But for me, what I was thinking about is a movie that really deserves a better villain, and that is Silence of the Lambs. Now, I am not talking about Hannibal Lecter, because Hannibal Lecter is a perfect villain. I'm talking about Buffalo Bill. When people watch Silence of the Lambs, they only talk about Anthony Hopkins. They only talk about Hannibal Lecter. They don't talk about Ted Levine's portrayal. It's almost become, this scene in particular is almost like a joke. It's a gif. Him dancing around with his kimono and mangina saying, I blank me. Like that is, it's not something that people fear. It's something that they kind of laugh at. And what I want to see is the Nicolas Cage version of him dancing around, doing this whole thing. I think it would be the true embodiment of Cage, which is actual crazy. Because Ted Levine, though he is a great actor, doesn't bring real crazy. Nicolas Cage always brings real crazy. And that's what we need. We need true terrifying looniness that Ted Levine never brought, so that we have a real foil in Silence of the Lambs, not just it puts lotion in the basket or it gets the hose, because that is literally a joke. It's become a gag. And if Nicolas Cage had done it, nobody would be laughing.
All right, thank you, Sasha. Greg.
For some reason, when she said it, did you just feel like your pulse rise? It's just like, oh man, I got some things to say.
Because you love Ted Levine. Because you've got a big love for Ted Levine.
My choice is The Nightmare on Elm Street, not the original Robert Englund. I'm talking about the 2010 remake, the one that starred Jackie Earle Haley. This movie had a lot of anticipation because it was possible to fathom a modern visual take on Freddy Krueger. What we got was essential, direct, sometimes shot-for-shot remake of the original, except for one thing. It had no soul and was completely bland, devoid of personality. I agree on all the positives you guys are saying about what Nicolas Cage can bring to the role when he really commits to the crazy Nick Cage. And this could have elevated it. What we got with Jackie Earle Haley was a very bland, kind of like diminished version of what he did with Rorschach in Watchmen. What you needed was someone who could match the quality of the insane, devilish personality that Robert Englund brought to the role of Freddy Krueger. And this movie, while the movie's not that good, the question is about what would improve the movie. What would improve it? I feel like your guys' picks, these are great movies. No one's complained about they should have been recast or whatever. They're fantastic films. Nightmare on Elm Street could have at least been an entertaining good time with the one thing they had to get right. The one thing, which is casting a memorable Freddy Krueger. And Nick Cage, easily with his craziness, would have been able to match the heights of Robert Englund.
Absolutely not.
Fight it out, y'all.
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? Nobody wanted that remake. It never would have done what it needed to do. And because Robert Englund is so intrinsic to that part, you can't replace him. If you put Nicolas Cage in that part, it becomes a joke. You and I both know that.
You put Nicolas Cage in anything, it's kind of a joke. You put him in Buffalo
You
Bill.
put him in Leaving Las Vegas, it's not a joke. You put him in Bad Lieutenant Port of Call, it is not a joke.
Nicolas Cage now, Ted Levine is perfect in that movie.
He is so replaceable.
He is more,
Oh, no,
people quote him more than Hannibal Lecter.
People quote him because it's a joke. It's a meme. It's a gif.
People quote him because it's memorable, not because it is a joke. When that movie came out
Oscars.
in 90,
Not with him.
91, whatever it was, that was a terrifying portrayal of everyone's worst fear of being kidnapped.
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me that when he kidnapped Catherine and shoved her into that van and beat the SHIT out of her, you weren't horrified?
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me when she was, you don't know what pain is, like looking down that well at her? He's horrifying.
He's horrifying, but he's barely in the movie. No, it's all about Anthony Hopkins. It's all about Anthony Hopkins.
It could have been a joke and portrayed people, with any kind of mental illness as this, really over-the-top crazy character, but he does it in such a way where you believe this man believes what he's doing is right and that he needs to do.
Which is exactly what Nicolas Cage did in Leaving Las Vegas when he was drinking himself to death, and he was like, no, this is what I deserve for myself.
The question is about improving, though, and it's not going to improve the film. No one's really complained about Ted Levine in Silence of the Lambs.
Nobody talks about him.
This is the first people quote him more than they do Hannibal Lecter. I do that mangina thing to my girlfriend every single day, and it's hilarious.
TMI.
I'm just trying to lighten it up.
We've reached critical mass of TMI. Stacey, I want to hear a little bit more about why Nicolas Cage would improve what Skarsgård did in Pennywise in It.
Okay,
hold on.
I asked Stacey, please.
Or you could have also put him instead of Tim Curry in the original miniseries. He could do both and improve both roles. Both of those have something lacking in the actors and the characters that they tried to put Pennywise in. So Nicolas Cage would have brought his intensity, his strength, his insane crazy eyes to any of the Pennywise manifestations that would have come about. They had snakes and diseased people and all kinds of crazy stuff. Nicolas Cage is the only actor that could really take Pennywise and make him horrifying and not make each of these weird interpretations, a joke to kids. I mean, there's
if Nicolas Cage was cast in it, all you would see is Nicolas Cage. When I see
so brilliant in that part, and Skarsgård was so great. Like,
he had to redefine after such a great stamp that Tim Curry put on it. It's kind of comparable for me what Heath Ledger did after following up Jack Nicholson with the Joker. If you watch Bill Skarsgård in an interview and then you watch it's like two totally different people. What happens when we have a problem with casting? The internet makes a stupid petition to recast him. It too is coming out. Everyone's jacked up about it. No one's like, recast Pennywise. I hated him. Everyone loves him. He's like one of the biggest Halloween. Everyone loves him.
No,
in that
he was
movie.
brilliant. But here's my issue with the Freddy Krueger thing.
Yes, ma'am.
That was not the only issue with that movie. That whole movie has to be redone. It's not just you put in a different Freddy Krueger and you have a better movie. You need entirely different set pieces. You need a different writer. You need a different director.
The question's about improving the movie, though. And Nick Cage's performance and personality would have.
Jackie Earle Haley.
It's about improving there.
Jackie Earle Haley is an Oscar nominee who is absolutely terrifying, who is weird looking. He was perfect casting for Freddy Krueger. He was perfect casting.
Oh, God,
You're
no,
not
he didn't even try. He didn't even try.
That's not true. He was trying to do a quieter, more somber version of Freddy Krueger because
stupid.
Robert Englund is so intrinsic to the part. Just put Robert Englund back in it. The thing about Ted Levine is you guys may think that he's iconic. I guarantee you, if you asked the internet, which we can, most people think about the Anthony Hopkins part. They think about the Jodie Foster part. Ted Levine is not a name that rolls off the tongue. When people talk about Buffalo Bill, it is a side tertiary situation. It comes from our fear of being taken. It comes from what we imbue that character with. But he, as an actor, did nothing to make it truly iconic. And I think, because I'm not talking about crazy, wacky Nick Cage.
You know what? Roll this into your final thoughts, Sasha.
I am talking about the Nick Cage who is an Oscar nominee. I am talking about Nick Cage who can literally take his face off. And it can be something that you remember forever. I want to see him say, I love me. I'm not going to say it because there's children. But I think that what you have here is that movie is this close to perfect. That movie is brilliant beyond measure and can be rewatched over and over and over again. I'm asking for the one thing that takes it, because if you have seen Mandy, it's an incredible film. And he is bonkers in it. And what we need is true bonkers, not actor playing bonkers.
Thank you, Sasha. Greg, final thoughts.
I think both of your films are already near perfect in terms of the entire thing. If the villains in your movies did not work, the movies wouldn't work. It's that simple. But those movies are very highly regarded by audiences, critics. Your movie won a bunch of awards. I mean, both of your movies are quoted so much because of how effective those roles are. Ted Levine, what I love about that is with Ted Levine, you don't see Ted Levine. All you remember is Buffalo Bill. It's effective. At best, Nick Cage might be entertaining, but I would still only see Nicolas Cage. With your roles, I only see the characters. It would by no means, going back to the question, improve the film. It would weaken it. Because as much as, even in Mandy, when he is crazy, he's doing good, but I still only see Nicolas Cage when I'm watching that movie. The question's about improving. Nightmare on Elm Street, the one thing they had to get right, the main thing to improve the movie was a crazy, memorable performance of the guy playing Freddy Krueger. All the Nick Cageisms, whatever, would have elevated majority of that film. It would it have made the quality of Silence of the Lambs or It? No, it wouldn't have, but it would have improved it and at least made it enjoyable to watch. I feel like putting Nick Cage in there would weaken the films, not improve them.
Thank you, Greg. Stacey.
I disagree 100% that Nicolas Cage's portrayal of Pennywise would weaken it. Bill Skarsgård is a great actor. I love him on other shows like Hemlock Grove on Netflix and stuff like that. And it comes from a great actor, family. But if you want to take Nicolas Cage and give him something to do, you want to give him multiple facets of a character. You want to have him go highs and lows in a film. You want to have different costumes, different hairstyles. You want to see everything that he has to offer. So if you want to put him in a role that he can improve and really show everything he's got, that's Pennywise. That's multiple characters that he could play, multiple manifestations of something that strikes fear in all of us, not just one character. It is really the only film from these options that gives him that really lets him show his range. If you have Nicolas Cage, you want him to be the most Nicolas Cagey Cage that you've ever seen in a cage. Okay? So, yeah.
All right, toot hoot. That's the end of the round. I just got caught up in that cage in a cage, uncaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Crazy
evil. Oh man, what character needs to get caged? Lon, any facts to check?
No facts to check. A totally clean round as far as I can tell, except Ted Levine's great as Buffalo Bill. That's the only fact.
Yeah.
Well, I know where your brain's going.
Yeah. So, this. I really enjoyed hearing everyone's takes, and I love listening to your movie opinions, you guys, and it gets me going. I wanted to hop in several times because you guys are so fun to listen to, and I was in on this. But to me it came down to the question. It wouldn't. All of yours would be fun to see. I'd love to see Cage chew the scenery. The man can. The man has a very special thing going. The movie that needed to be improved, it is Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake.
Hit her, no hitter.
Yeah,
No hitter.
No, because like I thought Ted Levine, you needed him to be a little bit more understated than Hannibal Lecter. That was his movie to take for a joyride, Anthony Hopkins. And Bill Skarsgård. I mean, he scared me. It was fun. That scene in the garage where they're watching the films, where they're watching the slideshow. Yikes! I jumped out of my seat and crapped my pants. Figuratively. I gotta go with Nick Cage as Freddy Krueger. Sign me up. That would take that movie somehow to the next level. Lon?
Yeah, I feel like they were all good arguments, but two of the answers didn't really answer the question. I don't know how you really improve that new It or Silence of the Lambs. They're both so great. So I feel like though Sasha and Stacey had great arguments, they really started like way behind the eight ball on this one just by picking great movies that it's hard to improve on. Greg picked a terrible movie, and I have to agree that, Jackie Earle Haley, swap him out with Cage. That movie gets a lot better, even if it's still kind of not great. So I go with Greg.
Greg, you get the point. You're up 3-0 going into the speed round. Danielle, what's everybody saying online?
All right, well, now that I finally figured out I had to download Chrome because my iCard was not working for a while. Look, you guys already knew. I just learned how to use an Apple computer laptop like 2 months ago, so I'm behind. I'm not great, but 57% went for Freddy Krueger. It was 24% for Buffalo Bill, 18% for Pennywise. Some other notables: Babadook. All right.
That would have won the round.
Chucky, another one I was not able. Chucky, another one I was not able to look at as a child. So thank you for reminding me of my horrible thing. And then at 3000 Elsinore on Twitter said Nick Cage could have really hammed it up as Seth Brundle as the Fly. That movie just begged for some Cage-style overacting. I mean, look, we all love the movie. But and we all love the Goldblum, but man, I would like to see the alternate version starring Nick Cage.
My second pick.
I don't know if it can go over the top beyond.
It's almost like a Ghost Rider transformation thing with the fly.
Scratching at the door!
My second pick was De Niro as Frankenstein.
Interesting.
No, he played it in Kenneth Branagh's movie.
Or what about?
No, that's what I mean. It's like replacing Nick Cage.
What about as Lex Luthor in Batman?
Not a horror movie, right?
That would be great.
Okay, so it's tiebreaker time, y'all, because we gotta see which of these ladies will be facing Greg in the speed round.
Yeah.
So here are the rules for the tiebreaker. Works basically like the speed round. I will ask the question. Whoever answers first will get to elaborate on their answer first, and you'll each get 20 seconds, and then 10-second rebuttal, 10-second rebuttal. Danielle, no more polls for you. You are giving us your own opinions, which are amazing, but you don't like to hurt anyone's feelings. All right, ladies, y'all ready?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Y'all ready for that?
Okay. We got a new trailer for Ralph Breaks the Internet today.
We did.
What internet character or personality should Ralph and Vanellope visit?
Tinder. It's not a character, but can they go there?
I think personified
does that
Tinder.
play?
I'll count that.
Does that
Yeah.
play?
Yeah, I'll side with Lon. We'll take it.
Sorry, can you repeat the question one more time? Because I don't know this topic at all.
It's
this
a sequel to Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph
yes.
and Vanellope, his friend who's played by Sarah Silverman,
Yeah.
they get to go on the internet this time.
Yeah.
So we're saying
Wreck-It Ralph is traveling on the information superhighway. Where or who should he visit? Okay, who should Wreck-It Ralph visit when he hits the internet?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna say Twitter. Can I say Twitter?
You know what?
If we're taking Tinder, we'll take
We got
Twitter.
Tinder. We got Twitter, and so Sasha, your 20 seconds begin whenever you speak.
In my version of this, what you have is they're trying to get to a single lady. I'm not sure who that lady is quite yet, but she's on Tinder, and they keep getting swiped. They keep getting swiped. They keep getting that left, and they're just like, no, hit me with that right. I need that match. I need that match. I mean, how great would it be for Vanellope to be like, no, here's the things that you have to love about me, and Wreck-It Ralph, who deserves so much love, just trying, and they're just getting the lefts, and it like sends them off.
Time.
There are so many toxic messages and threads on Twitter that their visit to it can be discovering what humanity truly is and has about itself, and trying to improve it by finding all these weird niche memes and all these like horrible Nazi people, and just trying to take them all down and trying to show everyone what a lovely place it could be.
So apparently we have a new Scariest Children's movie, and it was just written by Stacey. What I'm saying is we've got the Disney princesses in Ralph Breaks the Internet. Let's have him get on that Tinder, and try to swipe it, get it. We need a princess.
Rebuttal.
Twitter needs to be improved. Okay, we need something to help out my favorite messaging app and my favorite information app where I get all my news. Someone needs to go in there and make it right, and that is their mission. That is their goal.
Time. All right. Danielle, who's moving on?
Yeah, this was a fantastic fight. Both really good arguments. For me, I think for this round, I have to go with Sasha.
I agree with you on that. I think Sasha just had the easier to wrap your head around kind of. That would be fun to see Wreck-It Ralph building his profile and swipe. That was a great argument, but
I did
Sasha.
Argument, I was like, wait, what?
Sasha is going to the speed round, y'all.
I hate the speed round.
What, any other thoughts besides that?
You missed us doing the single ladies dance.
I saw it. It was awesome.
Can we get a shot of them doing the single ladies dance?
Please. Yes, Lon. Yes.
I can do a lot of upper half dances. It's the bottom half that betrays me.
All right, it is speed round time. Stacey Howard, you did not score a point, but you won the hearts of the internet, and you really came with some great answers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
I really wanted you to see.
All right, Greg. Okay.
I saved my snack for when I lost. I haven't lost yet.
All right, so we are in the speed round.
Speed round's
and
tough, man.
Guys,
Tough.
the speed round works just like the question we just had, our tiebreaker. I'll ask the question. First person to answer will go first. 20 seconds, then 10-second rebuttal, 10-second rebuttal. And this is kind of crazy, but it's already game point. If Greg gets this point, he takes the day.
It's gonna be okay.
Sasha needs this to keep the game going.
Keep it alive. Keep it alive.
All right, here we go.
My heart's beating. My heart's beating.
It's gonna be great.
All right, question number 1 in the speed round. Space Jam 2 is happening with LeBron, the King, with Ryan Coogler producing. What non-Looney Tunes animated character should also join Space Jam? What non-Looney Tunes animated character should also join Space Jam?
Animated.
Yes.
Pick a cartoon character who's not a Looney Tune.
Ralph.
Wreck-It.
Like the Wreck-It guy.
Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph.
Is he replacing Bugs Bunny?
No, just add.
In addition.
In addition, we're gonna have Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
Okay. we heard from Greg first. Greg, 20 seconds begin when you speak now.
Ralph already loves to play games. That's the whole thing about Wreck-It Ralph. And he would have such a good time. I mean, he's always just trying to get along with everyone. Watching him interact with Bugs Bunny and everyone. He's already transporting around different games and different worlds. It wouldn't be out of the realm to see him in the Looney Tunes world. And to have a different kind of animation mixed in with the original classic Looney Tunes animation would be such a blast. And John C.
The thing about Roger Rabbit is we've already seen him interact with humans, so it won't be as a field too far for us to like get that. And what I see is you got Bugs Bunny, and then his crazy wacky cousin Roger Rabbit shows up, and now they got to save the rec center, and they're gonna have to play the ultimate game, Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and that's something that we want to see. I mean, I'm very sad to say that Roger probably.
I think your idea about the game is a lot more interesting than actually having Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit's not relevant anymore, and I think if you're going to put a character in there, you're going to want to sell this to kids, and kids know who Ralph is. A lot of kids might not even know who Roger Rabbit is.
You want to talk about relevant? Space Jam is relevant? Not anymore, dog. Roger Rabbit is eternal. Roger Rabbit is forever. Roger Rabbit makes everything better. You get him, Bugs Bunny, LeBron, MJ. That's a good movie.
Daryl is forever.
Time. Juan Harris, lay it on us. What do you think?
Both really good arguments. I think both of these characters would be fun to see in the movie, and I thought both fighters scored some good points, but ultimately I liked Sasha's point about we've seen Roger in this sort of human animated world before, and kind of bouncing him off of Bugs Bunny, a character he's already met. I'm going with Sasha.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, Lon. I thought Sasha laid out just a better blueprint on how Roger would fit into the movie, and Greg, Wreck-It Ralph likes to have fun and play games.
I don't really know.
Sasha.
I don't remember Roger Rabbit.
Sasha is on the board.
Also, Roger Rabbit, another dance we should make Lon do.
It's hard to do that one sitting down.
No,
All right, something like this.
Come over here.
No, I can't. I literally cannot do the Roger Rabbit.
We'll teach you.
It's not like I'm unwilling. I
think we-
physically can't.
At the end of the game, can we all do the Roger Rabbit together?
I think we found a new Screen Junkies show, Dancing with Lon.
Force me to do dances I can't do. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Sasha, you are on the board. Nicely done. Here is question number 2 of the speed round. Lucasfilm has announced that it will slow down production on Star Wars movies. What's another franchise that should pump the brakes? Stacey has an answer.
Got this one.
The Conjuring franchise.
She's dying.
The Conjuring from Greg. Sasha.
Should pump the brakes. What's another franchise that should pump the brakes?
Once again, this is game point.
Oh, God, I hate this. Okay, so you're going The Conjuring. I'm going to say another franchise that should pump the brakes. It breaks my heart, but I'm going to say The Fast and the Furious.
Okay, The Fast and the Furious.
I know, it's my favorite franchise.
The Fast and the Furious.
Oh, please don't quote me on this anytime.
Okay, Greg, you spoke first for The Conjuring. 20 seconds begin when you speak now. It's a great moment in sports.
Yeah. Have you guys seen The Nun? Wasn't that good of a movie. And The Nun itself, if you look at the box office performance of that film, you would see that it didn't hold well the second weekend because of how terrible it is. And The Conjuring has great potential. It has this universe, and it's one of the few universes outside of Marvel that's working. But if you start doing what Star Wars is doing or trying to catch up with Marvel or follow the paths of DC, you're going to start ruining the quality.
Okay.
Which one did you say again?
Fast and Furious.
Okay.
The Fast and Furious is my favorite franchise of all time, but I'm going to be honest, 8 sucked. And we already know we have 9 and 10 coming up, and I feel like they're making so many missteps. We don't need more movies which have an exact date. The Conjuring's only had 3 movies. We have had 7 fantastic Fast and Furious movies. The 8th one went off a cliff. We need to take our time to do a perfect, beautiful Fast and Furious. We need Justin Lin. We need Vin Diesel to get off of his rock hatred.
The Conjuring has had 5 movies, and whenever they debut a prequel, it's not good. It's terrible. Fast and the Furious, everyone's excited for Hobbs and Shaw. Everyone wants to see that movie. I want to see that movie. Fate and Furious was actually really fun. I really enjoyed the hell out of it.
When you get into a situation like Hobbs and Shaw where you've got spin-offs, where you have 2 movies that have release dates already established, you end up doing fast work, not good work. I want it good. I don't care how long it takes. I just want my franchise to be the perfect franchise that it is.
Woo! All right. I just want to know, Stacey, what was your answer going to be?
Oh gosh, the Terminator.
Oh, yeah. I like it. All right. Let's go to...
What, Mangina, what?
Hold that thought. Danielle Radford, what are you thinking?
These were amazing arguments.
Yes, they were.
Everyone is excited for Hobbs and Shaw. That was the argument I was looking for from Greg. And then when Sasha said the thing about the dates and spin-offs, they're doing fast work and not good work, that was a great counter. What more do you want from me? I have to pick Sasha.
All right, that's one for Sasha. Ron Harris.
You know what? I was going for Sasha, but I thought Greg had a pretty strong end there, and he really dinged her on. There have been 5 Conjuring movies. The prequels and the spin-offs don't seem to be going that well. The Nun just came out and kind of didn't do as great, whereas the 8th Fast and Furious movie was a global, massive worldwide hit. I think I gotta go Greg.
But he didn't say that. You said that.
He said people were pumped for Hobbs and Shaw and looking forward to the new movies.
So it's 1-1. This was an expertly argued speed round question, and just by the hair of on one hair on her head, Sasha.
I'm still alive.
Barely.
That was so painful. I love the Fast and Furious so much, but 8 sucked. 8 sucked.
How dare you?
All right.
The Fate of the Furious was not good, except for that airplane
Charlize
scene.
Theron with her
That
with
was
the white
terrible
girl dress.
dreadlocks.
I don't know what's going on.
Man, that was a photo finish right there. It's still game point. Question number 3. Guys, question number 3. Eddie Murphy. He plans to star in an update of Grumpy Old Men.
This is true.
Who should join him as the other grumpy old man?
Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
We'll allow that, yeah.
Yep.
Known for her double roles.
Yep. He's clumped it up before. He's clumped it up.
Yeah.
Did you just do the Cabbage Patch?
I did.
Yeah, no extra points for the Cabbage
I'm the
Patch.
Cabbage Patch. I'm saving the Roger Rabbit for afterward.
Of course.
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover. Okay. We have Eddie Murphy. We have Danny Glover. Sasha, you spoke first. 20 seconds begin when you speak now.
When I think about the Eddie Murphy that I love, which is the Coming to America Eddie Murphy, which can sometimes be the Clumps Eddie Murphy, which is Hercules. It's him doing it himself. You cannot put him, he's like a Patti LaBelle. He wants to sing over everyone else. You can't put him in with another person. Eddie Murphy needs to let his wings be free and fly. He needs to do his own thing. If he's going to do Grumpy Old Men, he is the man. That is all the Eddie Murphy you need, and hopefully he does a song too.
Yeah, Nutty Professor 2 sucked, and the Norbit movie where he did that same shtick again was terrible. That does not work for Eddie Murphy anymore. You need to pair him up with someone who has a different level. What's always good about these comedy movies is when you have 2 different personalities, 2 different energy levels. Danny Glover, I was watching Lethal Weapon again recently. His comedy chops in that whole franchise is hysterical. He is really funny.
Have you seen Danny Glover in anything recently? No, because the man doesn't have it anymore. I love him, but he is old and he is crotchety, which works for the movie, but not if he can't remember his lines. What we need is Eddie Murphy to return to the comedy gold that he always gives us when he does the thing himself.
I saw him in Sorry to Bother You very recently. He was absolutely really funny in that movie. People were cracking up in the theaters watching that film. Eddie Murphy to return to that comedy format that died. There's a reason he doesn't do that anymore, because it's not funny anymore.
Boy, oh boy. How about it? Lon Harris.
Oh, man, this one's really tough. And I actually thought Sasha had gotten the kill shot with the have you seen Danny Glover funny in anything recently? But then Greg came up with Sorry to Bother You, which is a great rebound. So I'm not really fully sure. I like both of their arguments. I think I got to go Sasha, though, because I really do want to see Eddie Murphy play against Eddie Murphy again.
Damn.
Danielle.
I have to disagree. Again, and that was great. That where's Danny Glover? He's kind of lost it. But the arguments for, essentially, he didn't say this, but essentially he's arguing for the power of a straight man, which I think when you have someone with the kinetic energy of a Eddie Murphy, you do need a straight man. And then the fact that he came back with that great Sorry to Bother You zing, I have to go with Greg.
Yeah, for those reasons as well, I also have to go with Greg. Greg Alba. You take it. You take the day. This is the first. This is your second movie fights victory.
Yeah.
This is your first time here with the slicked back do.
Yeah, my drug cartel look. I love it.
Congratulations, my man. You fought valiantly. Please
Sasha
go ahead.
Friggin' put up a.
Oh hell yeah!
I was like stressing out.
Sasha, you made this thing a game.
Oh, thanks, man. So did Stacey. Stacey brought the thunder. Okay.
Oh no, Stacey, you both gave great answers. Yeah. You did not make it easy on anybody.
Danny Glover, I love you, by the way. I was literally just saying that to try to win, and also the Fast and Furious. I love you too. Like, I was just trying to win. I didn't mean any of those things.
You gotta pull a lot of crap out of your ass to win a point. Greg, congrats on the victory. Go ahead and plug some stuff. Tell us where we can find you.
YouTube.com/TheRealRejects. I want to thank all the Screen Junkies fans who have been hopping over since I've been doing movie fights, and they've really been loving our videos. People who don't really like reaction videos have been liking ours because of our commentary, so I really appreciate all that feedback. But I also just wanted to say thank you guys again to Screen Junkies. I never miss an episode of Screen Junkies News, and that's how I first saw Sasha on Screen Junkies News, then movie fights. And I even watched Charting with Dan. I watch Serious Questions. I watch everything from Screen Junkies, and so to be here and be a fan and be here for my third time is just amazing. So thank you.
Well, we're a fan of you, and guess what? Sorry, but you're part of the family now. All right. Thanks, brother.
And she has a really cool event coming up, Stacey. That I think
Stacey, tell us about it. And Stacey, let me commend you again for just having thoughtful, excellent answers and really bringing it. Obviously, anyone who's seen the Schmodown knows that you know your stuff, but you really, always a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you guys so much. And I love everyone at this table. Not Greg, but this is a fantastic and fun day. I'm truly honored. I do have a wonderful event that's coming up that's going to have some really familiar faces in it. So we are screening Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan on the roof of the Montalban. Ricardo Montalban's theater. Khan himself, his family still owns and operates it, so it is a very, very special evening. We're going to have special guests that include Scott Mans, Dan Murrell, Mara Nopik, Jason Inman, Ashley Robinson, John Roca, Robert Meyer Burnett, all the best people you guys are invited to. Greg, not you. It's going to be October 5th. Doors open at 6:30 and the film's going to start at 8 p.m. There's going to be themed drinks. Grab yourself a Romulan ale. You can wear your costume for a contest. We're going to have trivia and prizes. You can get your tickets at arenascreen.com. It's going to be a great evening.
That sounds like the best thing.
Yeah, it's super special. Under the stars with Star Trek fans of Hollywood, the lights behind you, there's no better venue than the Montalban. They're wonderful. We're so excited to have it, so I hope everyone comes out.
We were talking about scary scenes for kids earlier. Man, when I saw Star Trek II as a kid, and when they put that earwig in the guy's ear, when you were listing off who's going to be there, if you asked me to list my friends who are the biggest Star Trek fans I know, you just listed them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's because I texted everyone and I was like, who is Screen Junkies is a Star Trek fan? And here we are.
That's very cool. And what's the website, or where can they find tickets again?
Arenascreen.com. So it's October 5th. Doors open at 6:30. Have some drinks, have some fun. The film starts at 8.
Badass. Thank you so much, Stacey. Sasha PERL-RAVER.
Yay.
Impressive speed round work, always just impressive life.
Oh, stop. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so glad that Greg and I can walk away from this friends.
Congratulations on your baby.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on your win. I'm just so grateful
Just as big a deal.
that he pitch no-hitter, because that was scary. That was legitimately scary, you guys. I lost Wizard of Oz.
My mom's favorite movie.
Your mom is twisted. Legitimately twisted.
You don't know that? No, desperate. Thank you, Sasha.
Yeah.
Always great to have you.
Thanks.
And where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sasha PERL-RAVER, and every Friday on FX hosting FX Movie Download.
Heck yes. Lon Harris, thank you for holding it down.
Special guest. Come on.
I'm a special guest. I'm here all the time, Sasha. It's not a big deal. Nobody's excited.
You're a special guest.
Literally almost every week.
It's Lon, let them know where they can find you and all that good
Find me
stuff.
on Twitter at LONS. It's only 4 letters. It's easy to type.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Always a pleasure to be
Checking
here.
the backs, my man. Danielle Radford, thank you for just being the voice of the people. Please give some shout outs, hellos, etc.
As per usual, if you want to listen to me talk about the wrestles, you can follow me either at my Tights and Fights. You can listen to the podcast. I have a Patreon now where we can talk and be buds and talk about wrestling. Some of you are asking me very specific. John Mayhem, if you're a Screen Junkies employee, do you remember when Johns and Harloff teamed up? I don't remember last week. I appreciate you asking me.
This show?
Thank you.
Oh, that was many moons ago.
I was hit by a bus. I don't remember things. But thank you all so much. And yeah, it's fun as always.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm Hal Rudnick. You can find me at Hal Rudnick on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Follow me there. Let's talk movies and whatnot. I want to thank Billy Biz for stepping up big time. This guy produced produces the show, but today he had to jump in the booth because JTE, get well soon, my brother. I hope you're feeling better, but Billy Biz, you stepped up big time and went off without a hitch, pretty much. I mean, I don't know how it is in there, but I mean, he goes, metza. But it was great out here, and thanks for a great fight, you guys. Thank you for watching Movie Fights. We'll see you next week. #AlNation, #GaHooligans. Hoot hoot. Bye-bye, everybody.